Okay, you ready to get started?
Yep.
Great. Good morning for those of you that are joining the webinar this morning. This is Ann Ball, Program Director at the Maine Downtown Center. And this is one of our quick morning webinars that we are doing. And this one is telling your downtown story using a walking tour app or using an app. And we are joined this morning by Josh Gilbert. And I have a few little logistics to go over with you. The webinars typically last like 40 to 45 minutes, so we will be ending right on time so you can get on with your day. I certainly want to thank our sponsors that help the Downtown Center do the work that we do. And next week is Build Maine in Lewiston, really significant conference. And we have, for all of our member communities, we do have free and discounted tickets, so I hope you'll be able to attend. Today's webinar is being recorded and it will be made available after the program if you have other committee members or board members that would like to see it. If you have questions, there's a chat feature located in the bottom of your screen. Just go ahead and you can click on that and up will come a little chat area, and we'd love to have your questions that we will ask our speaker, Josh. So as I said, I am joined by Josh Gilbert, and I'm going to have Josh introduce himself and tell us a little bit about what he's doing. Josh, while you are introducing yourself, I'm going to unshare my screen so you'll be able to share yours.
Oh, okay, perfect.
So take it away.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Josh, as Ann mentioned. So I am a client success manager here at Onsell. So I've actually, I think since Ann and I started this conversation, I've transitioned roles and struggling to share this. So as a client success manager, I kind of stay on, to help anybody building an app with us. I'm there, for the life of that app to help with any technical questions, any, marketing strategy, setting it up, anything like that. We've got myself and a whole team here to help with all that. So that's kind of my introduction. So the introduction to Onsell, we got started about 12 years ago as a dial-in cell phone tour, primarily for museums. Our president and CEO was taking an old audio wand tour and was waiting for that to come back, taking about 45 minutes. And then he was checking voicemails on his cell phone as he was doing that. So he thought, hey, why can't I just call in to take this tour? So that's kind of how the company started. And then it's grown, into what it is today, building these apps for, any number of organizations, still museums, cities, national parks, anybody kind of who has a story to tell.
Great. And Josh, I think one thing I was going to tell everyone is, didn't we originally meet through the National Main Street Center, or somehow was that the connection?
Yes, I think, what was it? It must have been the Main Street conference in either Pittsburgh or...
Right, that's right.
Where was the one? I forget the one last year, but yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so I just thought Josh would be great for our downtowns to think about the connections between this type of technology and the work and the stories you all are telling in your downtown. So that is like our connection to what I was thinking, but I will let you take it away.
So just some information, kind of about the platform. What I really want to do is spend most of the time, sharing a few different examples of apps that are live. I think that's kind of more beneficial, but I can also send out this information as well.
That's great. We're happy to share the slides on our archive page, Josh, after this webinar.
Okay. and recently we had merged with a company out of New Zealand called My Tours. So very similar platform as the OnSell platform, both kind of do-it-yourself app builders, but just a few variances between the two. Powerful mapping, huge for cities, multilingual. That's really what we found to be really important in terms of accessibility. Telling those stories. A lot of times, places will have all that content in English, but getting it to visitors who English isn't their native language. So this is a great way to do that. And then just some of the other platforms we have that probably aren't as relevant here. So I will switch over to some examples.
Great. And while Josh is switching over, I'd love to hear from some of you on the chat feature. Do any of our Main Streets and affiliate communities on the phone have a large influx of foreign speakers that translating multilingual feature would be helpful? I know Deb King from Brunswick is on the Zoom, and a couple of other you. Just while Josh is getting ready, I was thinking it'd be interesting. Abigail says we definitely do here in Westbrook. Abigail, what languages in particular? I'm just curious. I should know that from my cultural tourism days in Maine, but I don't. You can go ahead and continue. She says Arabic, French, and Portuguese.
Okay.
Very cool. Thanks, Abigail.
So this first example that I wanted to share is Bridgeton, Maine. Their historical society started developing an app with us back in 2017, and they've been public and live with it ever since. So it's a really great app. Few different tours within it. They've got their downtown historic walking tour, and then this historic hike.
Hey Josh, are you sharing a different screen, or are you still on the features OnSell and My Tour screen?
Oh, it should be a different screen.
Okay, so it's a little wonky, Zoom is, but you have to stop sharing and then reshare, I think, with the page you want us to see, because we're still seeing the OnSell and My Tours page.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Could have given you a heads up.
That's all right.
I think it's fascinating that you have Bridgeton, Maine as one of your case studies.
Yes. Is it okay? How about now? Is that?
No, it says slide 5, features OnSell and My Tour. Is it just the next slide?
No, it was a different screen.
Just pull it to the front of your, there you go, we got it. Bridgeton, okay. Maine, thank you.
Perfect. Yes, so multiple tours within the app.
Who was your partner in developing this app? Was it the Bridgeton Historical Society?
Yes, yep, the Bridgeton Historical Society.
Great.
So they've got their map here, able to zoom in. This is a custom map that they uploaded, but it could also, we do use Google Maps, so it's great. GPS users, able to see their location. They've got their list of all of their stops. Again, back to the map, and then also the Google map.
Great. So those are all the sites they put on it.
Yep. And what's really great too about this, especially for a Main Street, is to be able to have, the local, so along with, the historic points or anything you want to speak to the history, you can also, really highlight the local businesses.
That's so funny. I saw my favorite restaurant, Standard Gastropub, over there.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, great restaurant if anybody's in Bridgeton. So that's great. And if you click on that, you can get their information as well.
Yep. So,
oh, yeah.
right. So this would just be taking you, kind of to their linking out externally. What you could also do is set them up as a marker. We have, different markers that would be more applicable for a business as opposed to, just the standard little box here. But then it would just be, setting up a page within the app that would link right to, this could be something about a restaurant, a hotel, or as it is. Which one of the other examples that I had, this Put in Bay. It's an island on Lake Erie.
Oh, wow.
So again, also it shows, the different languages.
Yeah, and Spanish. Deb King just did chime in that Brunswick probably has a lot of Spanish, but they also have Bowdoin College, which has international students and families from all over the world. So that would be beneficial in Brunswick.
Great, yeah. And so they are kind of using the map in that way that I mentioned. So they've got, what's this? This Roundhouse Bar. Also with directions right to it, so you can
Great.
Have the user be able to see that.
Josh, how come they have two radio stations at the bottom of the app?
Oh, yeah. So this was actually our partner here that's doing it is the local radio station.
Oh, wow.
They have it where you can link out right to their station and listen to the radio.
Okay. Very cool.
Taking them right to their Facebook page, which I'm sharing on a, as a desktop where it's really meant to be, used on a mobile device.
On a mobile, right.
So some of the formatting doesn't quite
That's okay. I'm getting a good understanding of it. I can pretend it's on a handheld.
Exactly. This next example, so those two were both, just an individual site, kind of one city, one area, which, so the flexibility would give all of you that option, where, have an individual app for your city. The other thing that Ann and I had spoken about briefly too was the ability, for all of the main streets to come together kind of under one app, both, to have, kind of that strong marketing behind it and also to bring that cost down.
Right.
So they have all of these cities within here.
And who were the partners in those cities? Was it, government or nonprofit, or different in every city?
So actually the example, the thought behind it was correct. All of these cities having a separate tour. However, the Florida Humanities Council is actually
right.
who developed this for all of the cities. So I believe they must be working, with the local communities.
Yep.
With the content and all, but it is a single organization.
That's great. Maine Humanities Council is certainly a large partner in Maine in developing cultural content and all sorts of things around the state. That might be something we could work on with them.
We've worked with a few different humanities councils. The Connecticut Humanities Council is another one that just launched their app a little earlier this year.
Great.
So this is the Bartow tour. So all of these 12 stops right here in Bartow, got their map. you've got the audio. So the in terms of content, audio, video, text. Don't think I'm missing anything there.
Oh, so you can use video. That's great.
Yep. You can embed video right in the app. You can link out to. We have some people that just link out to YouTube. But yeah, if you have the video content, it's a great way to share it right through here. Get the directions to the next stop. Once you're there, I'm here, and it'll take you right into that next stop.
Cool.
What's also nice, the ability for feedback, so you can collect, information. Whatever these questions are completely customizable. You can ask for an email address to kind of create, a mailing list. Anything that you want to know from your visitors can be done right through here. Another feature, the favorites page. So if you're somewhere in here, you went to this Temptation restaurant, you really liked it, want to save it to come back at some point, you can add it to your favorites, and then you have that favorites page always right here.
Great. And
my last example, Independence, Missouri. They were a big, this is a really great kind of more interactive than some of our other apps with they've got their game. This photo booth here is not great on a web app, but with the native app, it's so
oh my gosh,
it'll access your camera. You can overlay this hat and glasses on your face and take it.
No way. That's so fun.
Yeah, they have some fun ones. They've got this jail cell. So
that's really cool.
And then what's really fun too is their game. So Independence, Missouri was a big stopping point along the Oregon Trail. And so they've developed their game to kind of look and feel like the 90s Oregon Trail computer game.
Oh.
So as you're going through, you're traveling, what do you have for supply, or how much money do you have? Do you accept promises? All these just kind of fun answers to get everybody started. And then their theme is you earn supplies as you go along. So we can check on our supplies. We haven't earned any badges yet. So as we're playing this game, you're earning all of this stuff. So
400 pounds of bacon. Yeah.
Yeah, that's 400 pounds of bacon. How do we earn that? Okay, so it tells you have to head to the log courthouse on Kansas Ave.
Oh, okay. So it's the way they use the game to move the people around the downtown.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. Very cool examples.
And then I've done this enough. I should know the answers, but I still don't. And so when you've earned it, you oh right. So some of theirs are you earn the badge right away. Others takes a little longer. So now you've got another question that just kind of, so it's a really fun way to move people through, as you said.
And learn a little along the way.
Yep, and those badges too, they could just be, as they're using them, just a fun way through the app. We have others who use them to actually, give some sort of physical prize. So it could be, earning a badge gets you 10% off.
Yeah, that's one of my questions I'd written down with, do some of these apps tie to coupons or, in the case of a game, prizes?
Yep. So not necessarily directly in the app, but people will, ask their visitors to either take a screenshot of it and then send it in to earn the prize, or show the cashier the badge.
Okay. That's great.
Unless there's any questions, the last bit I wanted to talk about was location alerts. So we have the ability to trigger content by GPS. So if there's a particular point that, or any, all, could be all points on a map that you want, once the visitor breaks the geo fence, this alert will pop up to let them know, that they're nearby a particular location. And then it's just one click away to access that.
Oh.
What's also nice about it is you can have hidden content that way. So if you have, a badge, for example, that you don't want them to earn, you want them to actually have to physically be there to earn that badge, that could be triggered again by this location alert.
Cool. Well, I have a number of questions. I don't know if now is a good time to start diving into some questions, Josh, or did you have other stuff you wanted to share with us?
No, that'll be great. The other thing, I figured it would kind of come out in the questions, but we'd touch on the, the pricing and everything as well.
Great. So if it works, Josh, to stop sharing your screen if you're done, super, thanks. And so it would be great if you have questions to type them in. And if I don't see any from you guys on Zoom, I'm going to start asking them. And I bet we'll cover some of it. So I am really curious to learn how the apps track like what's happening in the community. Like, are there analytics that are presented about, that you can see of how long someone was on the app, where they actually, Tom Barter is asking, does this offer the full range of analytics such as Facebook and Instagram? So let's talk about that topic, since Tom and we are asking the same thing.
Perfect. And yes, it does. So you are able to see the number of users, what pages those users are on,
Yep.
How long they're in the app as a whole, and then also how long they're spending on particular pages. You can see where they're from, or at least where their phone is from. So
interesting. Okay.
Okay, where are these visitors coming from?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's why I was asking about the coupon feature, because I was thinking it would be a really good tracking mechanism that if they took you to that restaurant, it'd be so great for the restaurant to know that the app that the downtown organization or the community had somehow invested in was actually driving, an economic return.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And that's another function of the survey feature too that could be used, is to ask, where are you from?
Right.
Where did you stop while you were in town? What were your favorite things? All that. Yep.
Okay. And globally, when you look at, Tom has a follow-up. Does it use GPS to know where the person is while on the walking tour?
So the user will be able to see where they are on that map. It doesn't track, there isn't like a heat map necessarily that you as the app owner would receive. Right,
but you're not receiving the results of who's walking where. Although if you had a game and it drove you to a certain site, you would be tracking that data point, correct?
Yes, yep, you'd be able to see, right, yep.
So there would be a way to collect data or drive that
right. I guess
if you had some sort of setup with the places.
Yeah, just not on a necessarily like a specific user basis. Like you wouldn't know that, John Smith spent 20 minutes here. You would just know that,
10 people had gone to this
10
site.
people spent, yeah, exactly.
Okay, but that's still useful.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What example, it might be one of the ones you showed us or maybe another one, is, OnSell or My Story's most successful app, would you say, and why? And I guess I'm wondering, again, from downtown revitalization, economic development, is there one that stands out to you?
So our most successful app is is actually the Air Force One experience.
Oh, wow.
I think it's actually in Washington. And the main reason behind that is, or I guess two reasons, is he markets it really well. Everybody knows about this. One thing we really like to do, we can print up these they're almost like a business card size sign, essentially, that gives the information where to download, the name of the app and everything. And so he hands them out to everyone. And for a city too, it'd be perfect, have those little cards in all the different shops, just around town.
Okay.
You don't have to necessarily, clutter up everything with large signs that say, download an app. But if you have it on all websites, and then
Social media, yeah.
Smaller site or signs, for sure.
So that Air Force One project is the most successful because of the volume of visitors.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And the way they are promoting it to get the visitors.
Yep.
Okay.
Probably the most recent one that's got the most coverage, I guess we'll say, is Dorchester County Tourism in Maryland. They just launched an app, and they've done a really great job of really, having kind of like not necessarily a launch party, but they've put a lot of information out there every time. They've launched 3. They were doing 1 a month, 3 tours within the app, 1 a month. And each time a new one comes out, they really,
Wow. Yeah. That's a lot of content to develop. My goodness.
Yeah.
I don't know that any of us have the capacity to do a new tour every month. Wow.
Yeah.
So Tom, I do see your question, but I'm going to ask Josh one more set of questions, since we're kind of dancing in the marketing area, and then we'll get into the fee. So Josh, let's talk a little bit about marketing, both your experience and your recommendations of marketing, because we know from all of our work, our downtowns are tourism destinations, and we know that marketing is really key. Like, no one, what are the best ways? You talked about Dorchester and them doing these big events when they kind of unveil their new tours, which is awesome. But what other kinds of ways are apps like this best marketed successfully?
Yeah, so I think it's social media. The great thing about the apps are, you just really have to show the App Store and Google Play icons, and everybody knows what that means. So it's an easy way, to just kind of, without having some real long, essay about it, you can just show those icons, and it's a great way to do it. So social media, and really just as many different spots that you can have it visible as possible. So, if it's signage, that's great. If it's those little business cards, just handing them out to as many people as possible.
Okay.
The search terms would work in the App Store, but, people tend to, come to a city and search to see, is there anything here to download?
Right.
But yeah, so as many people, if it's sponsors, I guess we didn't really touch on sponsors too much, but it would be possible to have, people pay, like that Put in Bay tour, actually.
Yeah.
Their sites in there, they've paid the radio station.
Okay.
To be in there.
Okay, so they're using it as a, I'm trying to think what it is, but like selling ads, basically. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And then so once they have, once they're in the app, then they're also, that location is promoting to, they want visitors to use it, so they're invested, so they're promoting it on behalf of the station.
Great. So we do have a question, so we might as well dive into this area of discussion, which is, it says, is the app free to users? Or are there a fee or paid versions? So I think there's a lot to do with the funding related to like sponsors and individual people using it, and actually the cost to the community to actually develop an app. Our downtown organizations in Maine literally have annual operating budgets anywhere from $10,000 to like 200,000. So it's a big range, but capacity is an issue. And you and I have talked about like whether Main Streets would team up to do something like this. We have some adjoining communities like Saco and Biddeford, which have a river between them, or Gorham and Westbrook, which touch each other. So let's dive into this category before we close out.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah, and two, Tom, with that question, I see, is it free to the users or they're a paid version? And that is would be completely up to you. So if you want to charge visitors for the app, you can. We don't take anything from that. So if, that's completely up to you. It's all yours. The only thing is the app stores do take 30%.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's that option. Most of the times we recommend to just make it free. You get much more usage out of it that way. And then in terms of, if it's all right, I'll share my screen again.
Yeah, go right ahead.
The pricing tiers.
Great.
Okay, so we have the 4 different plans here. Our standard is $22.95 per year or $199 monthly. The setup cost that's mentioned here that's to get the app into the app stores. So we can do either a web app or a native app. A web app would be like I've shared today, just a simple URL. Also, but generally on a phone. The native app is the one, that's downloaded, and probably for walking tours, where there's not Wi-Fi connection, the more common option. From talking to you, Ann, I think most of the Main Streets would fall into our local and specialty category here.
Yeah.
Which would bring that price down to probably about $99 a month,
Okay.
a little over $1,000 per year, and then that setup cost down to just a one-time $999 fee.
Okay.
This limited tours per app, it's about 5 tours per app. So you could have a few walking tours within it, and then as you grow and expand, kind of bump up to that standard. In terms of the features, it's all the same across the platforms.
That does look right. I think you're right.
Yeah. Until we get up to Pro, which that is where the the gaming, the badges, the photo filters, all of that comes into play.
Okay. Can you a la carte things like I thought the photo feature was pretty hilarious. Could you ever, have just that feature?
We probably could. We just recently, kind of came up with these set plans. We had plans before, but they were a little bit different. The features kind of varied more from plan to plan. And in that case, we did often do that. So that is probably something we could do.
Great.
And then, so the local and specialty, the stand, they would all, allow for a few, like you said, the Main Streets that are really close, could come together and probably do one of those. If it were a larger, statewide sort of thing, and you went for this custom option, which would give that kind of that Florida Stories or even the Independence version of that app, it would be, this pro pricing for the year, and then that just $2,000 setup cost, but that way it's only one time. So that broken down, by 10 or so different organizations would really bring that cost, well under $1,000 per year for each one.
Yeah. And does the per monthly cost, is that forever, and it includes obviously any technical issues that come up? It includes kind of uploading a new tour to the app, any updates on software? Is that kind of what that all goes to?
Yep, that's right. So it's a hosting fee. We host the content on our platform. It's always your content. We don't own it. It's yours. But that way too, with that hosting fee, you're able to make changes at any time. So the platform is really user friendly, kind of, do it yourself. It's very similar to WordPress or Wix with websites.
Yep.
And then, yes, you're able to make changes in real time. So if you have an event on, a Saturday and you're in there on Thursday, you can put in that information, click publish. It'll be sent out immediately. And then, if it's over on Sunday, you can take it right out. And
so that would be a great need in the main streets, because they do host a good number of events, and I like that, like, quick real-time information that you would be able to share. Do you find that the apps are used not only by those visiting the community, but those that live there? For instance, I'm thinking of Brunswick, Tom, and I'm thinking, okay, you're having your bed races, and I don't know, the road is closed or there's a storm or something, and you have to quickly adjust. And I know we all have our various social media platforms to get it out there, but is this yet another way to get out kind of real-time information?
Yes, absolutely. So you can have that information, just on a page in there.
Right.
You can also send out push notifications. So you can quickly send out a notification to all app users who have it downloaded.
Great.
That, there's either an event coming up, there's something closed, anything like that.
Okay, super. Any other questions from our participants, our attendees that are on Zoom? Go ahead and type into that chat feature. You are all muted. I forgot to tell you that. We can't hear you, but I can read your notes if you have any questions. And I'd love to hear what you think about this for Maine. I think this is a great introduction for us to think about statewide as well as at the local level. Josh, is there anything else you want to add or share with everyone today?
No, I think this has been great. Thank you for inviting me, to participate in this webinar. I really appreciate it. And Anna, I'm not sure if she'd mentioned it just to me or to everyone, but she's going to share my contact information with you all. So, if you want to take this conversation kind of off this and really dive into specifically, your city's needs, we can certainly do that. Yeah. So as I mentioned at the beginning, or maybe I mentioned it to Josh and I don't have clear brains, not enough coffee this morning. This is a new platform for us doing these short webinars. We have another one coming up in a couple of weeks. It's going to be at a noontime slot because we had a request not always to have them right during the morning hour. And we are recording it, as I mentioned earlier, and we will send out a quick 5-question survey and also include Josh's information and a link to his slides. So you could view the slides on your own with your committee, or you could watch the webinar where he showed the slides. But a couple options for accessing this content at a later date and sharing it with your committees, people at your municipality, or whatever makes sense. Or in the case of Keith Sear in Madawaska, who knows, Acadian Festival, Keith, I don't know. We would like to thank you for attending, and we'll be in touch electronically shortly, probably Monday, not today. I thank you all for attending and appreciate your time. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Okay. See you, Josh.